Super Mario 64 is one of the most speed-ran games of all time. It's something about the unique physics system, the way the geometry can be exploited, and it's the OG sandbox 3D platformer game. You know, people are just endlessly fascinated with it. The Mario 64 speedrunning community is huge. Any speedrunning event, you're gonna see Mario 64 there. But there is a much more obscure category, and I guess you might not even call it a speedrun category. It could just be a challenge, I'm not sure. But basically, it's the idea of beating the game using as few A button presses as possible. The A button lets Mario jump. Naturally, it comes up a good amount in a regular playthrough, but there are all sorts of crazy tricks that you can pull off to get Mario through the game. I mean, well, I say the general you, not me, anybody that I know, but theoretically, a person can get through the game, a lot of the game, using very few presses, and there are videos on this topic, really super long, comprehensive videos on this. This actually has a very long history. People have been tackling the game, trying to use as few A button presses as possible for over 20 years now. Since like a few years after the game launched, people have been doing this. And we're talking these long, complex ordeals of like going back and forth through doors to make enemies raise or lower by a pixel. It's crazy. Like, just look it up. Seriously, there are so many videos on this topic. Funny story, one time I was cooking rice and I ended up burning the absolute heck out of it because I got so engrossed in one of these videos. This was several years ago. I got so engrossed, I couldn't hear the alarm, and I just let it burn until the whole house was filled with smoke because it's just so interesting. And back then, I can't exactly remember, but I feel like the record was like 2.5 presses or something. Yes, they go into half presses somehow, and it registers in the game. It like rounds down. Seriously, I couldn't explain any of it for real. But now it has finally happened. Twitch streamer Marbler has beaten the game using zero A button presses. It happened. It finally happened. He did it. The run took 86 hours, not surprising. I would have expected it to be more, considering all of the tricks I remember watching in that rice-burning video. 86 hours, it was done on the Wii Virtual Console version, and it required waiting days for platforms to slowly raise. Like, there are just platforms in the game, and they very, very slowly raise over time, and over enough hours, whatever. Whatever they had to do, they did it. It took 86 hours, and it's done. The no A button run of Super Mario 64 has happened, and you really have to just admire the dedication. Seriously, over 20 years in the making. This is something that people have been doing for decades. Slowly figuring it out and just working that number down further and further, eliminating more presses and half presses until they finally reached zero. And I just think that's incredible. These people are so incredibly good at what they do, and they're so smart and resourceful. I don't know. I think speedrunning is cool, and these kinds of challenges are cool, but I especially like the idea of really big, overarching challenges that everybody kind of worked towards over time, you know, like the big monumental accomplishments, the kinds that take years and years. I cannot imagine the elation people must feel. You know, the people who are actually in this community doing this specific thing, I cannot even imagine how incredible it must feel to just all collectively kind of work together and accomplish this. And I don't know what the future for this category exactly looks like. I don't know if at this point you try to make it more efficient, you try to cut down, you know, sub 86 hours maybe, or does everybody pack up and go home and go, all right, we did it. We did it. No button presses. It's done. I don't know. But that is Super Mario 64 history. that was just made. And the funny thing is, that's not the only Super Mario 64 related history being made recently. In Mario 64, Cool Mountain, you do the penguin race all the way down to the bottom and you come out of the little cabin, and that door you cannot go back into. It's basically an unopenable door. And a few weeks ago, somebody figured out how to do it. It's another mystery that has been haunting everybody for so long. And they just figured it out. A speedrunner by the name of Alex Palix1 figured it out. They just did. They just figured it out. They're solving mysteries left and right over here. And it precisely like the whole button presses videos, hours and hours of explanations. You get the same thing here. If you want, there's like a 3-hour-long explanation about invisible walls and this unopenable door. It's a good time. I've not watched all of it, but man, it is so fascinating. Even after all these years, even after such an old game and such a popularly speed-ran game, you'd think that they would eventually just figure it all out, but nope, we're still here. This is still ongoing. People are still figuring out how best to play the game and how to exploit it, and I don't know. I just think that's amazing. When you speedrun a game and you create all of these challenges, then the game itself, it becomes like this living, breathing creature. You know, the concept of these challenges themselves, they evolve like they're alive, and the way that the community, I don't know, I could go on and on about it. I think it's super cool. And you know, whenever this topic of speedrunning and stuff comes up, I know inevitably you get a lot of people who really do not get it, who are just very, very skeptical, even against the very idea of speedrunning and all that. So whenever it comes up, I just want to put it out there that I used to be one of those people. Completely. That was me, speedrunning. Why would you do that? I'd rather enjoy a game at a regular pace, but I don't know. Then I watched the right thing, and then I got it. And now I get it. And now I think it's really cool. So I don't know, I just like to throw it out there. It's fine if you don't like speedrunning. I know that there's a certain critical attitude toward it that I feel mostly comes through just not understanding it, because that was me. I just didn't get it, and then I watched more of it, and I learned more about it, and now I get it, and it's amazing. And even beyond just straight up speedrunning, just this whole idea of these huge communities working together to solve these decades-old mysteries. I can't get enough of it. But will they ever solve the ultimate mystery? Figuring out how to unlock Luigi as a playable character. Now it's gonna happen. You wait and see. L is real, he's in there. Just gotta figure out how to be him. Also, finding the Triforce. It's gotta be in there somewhere. I think it's in the mountain. I think it's in the mountain of Bob-omb Battlefield. I think King Bob-omb is hiding it somewhere. I also heard this playground rumor that Yoshi is on top of the castle. I don't know about that one. I don't know if anyone's found anything like that. Sounds like baloney to me.